Stephen's mentioned a few times already entrepreneurs relief. And why is this very important? Well, if you make a capital gain, most people will be taxed at 28% on that capital gain, unless they qualify for entrepreneurs relief. In which case, the rate of tax you pay on the gain is only 10%. Now, a few years ago, entrepreneurs relief was introduced, and the amount, your lifetime allowance was only £1 million when it was introduced. That was raised a year ago to £5 million, and now the Chancellor has raised it in this budget to £10 million. But it has to be the right type of asset being disposed of. The type of disposal that is most of interest to people in this room is where you are disposing of shares or securities in a company. Let's just have a look at those in a little more detail. First of all, if it's an interest in an LLP, or if you're carrying on a business as a sole trader, what do you need to do to qualify for entrepreneurs relief? Well, firstly, you've got to be either a member carrying on that business or a sole trader and carrying on the business for a minimum period of 1 year up to the date of disposal. You have to be carrying on a trade. Investment businesses don't count. It has to be a trade. And as I said earlier, the first £10 million per individual qualifies for the relief. So if you're in a partnership, or let's say you're a member of an LLP, and there are five members, then there's £50 million worth of relief now. And here's planning point number one, I suppose, in that it applies to a member of a partnership. Now, what if your spouse became a member of your partnership, or if you're a sole trader and you introduce your spouse into the business, and so it becomes a partnership? Within 1 year, 1 year later, you can claim £20 million of entrepreneurs relief between the two of you, £10 million each. And let's just move on to if you're disposing of shares or securities in the company. You have to own those shares, or you have to own 5% at least shareholding in the company for a period of 1 year prior to disposal. So the spouse with a 5% will get entrepreneurs relief on their 5% holding. However, if just before the disposal the majority shareholder transfers another 45% to the spouse, so they're now holding the company 50-50, then each of them will get entrepreneurs relief on the full amount. If you sold a company for £20 million, then, and you did the 50-50 like that, then each individual would get £10 million, and it would all be taxed at 10%. And that is a saving, a huge saving, on the situation if it was taxed at 28% on one of the spouses. So what other planning points are there? Well, this is really for exit planning. You're planning for your exit from the business, for your exit from the company. You're planning for sale. If you're selling your company, then one point to watch is loan notes, because you can lose your entrepreneurs relief if you sell the shares and take loan notes, because it may not still be your personal company when you cash in the loan notes. So that's a point to watch. It can be used for buying out shareholders. If one of the shareholders wants to leave and you want to buy him out, this might be that you set up a new co that buys the shares of all the shareholders. Some stay in, some exit. Then you can use entrepreneurs relief there. A company can purchase its own shares, and providing it's a qualifying purchase and you get capital gains tax treatment, and that's a whole new subject which I'm not going to go into today, but provided you qualify for capital gains tax treatment, then entrepreneurs relief will apply to that disposal. And also, in some circumstances, you may be a sole trader or partnership and want to incorporate that business. Now, you can do that tax-free, a tax-free incorporation, provided you comply with the law. However, you can opt out of that and take a capital gain, and again, that can qualify for 10% tax relief.